The village of Verbatim. Alara and her dog Bran were exploring the edge of the woods when the sky suddenly turned a strange shade of violet. "I have a feeling we aren't in our backyard anymore," Alara whispered, clutching Bran's leash. Suddenly, the clouds burst open, but it wasn't water that fell from the sky. Small, fluffy kittens and barking golden puppies tumbled down gently, bouncing off the grass. "It's literally raining cats and dogs," Alara cried, shielding her head as a tabby kitten landed softly on her shoulder. They ran toward a small cottage to find shelter. Standing by the garden gate was a man named Aeolus. He looked very miserable, mostly because a small, dark rain cloud was hovering exactly 3 inches above his head, soaking only him. "Are you all right?" Alara asked, dodging a falling poodle. Aeolus sighed, a tiny bolt of lightning flickering near his ear. "I'm just feeling a bit under the weather today," he grumbled, wringing out his soggy sleeve. Aeolus pointed them toward the village square. There, they met a baker named Anise, who was trembling so hard her chef's hat nearly fell off. "I have a big cake to bake for the mayor," Anise stammered, "and I've got terrible butterflies in my stomach." As she spoke, colorful wings flapped beneath her apron, and 3 bright blue butterflies fluttered out from her collar, looping around Alara's nose. Bran, being a curious dog, began sniffing at a large burlap sack sitting on Anise's counter. "Oh, don't open that," Anise warned, but it was too late. Bran nudged the knot loose with his snout. A sleek black cat leaped out of the bag and dashed across the kitchen, knocking over a jar of sprinkles. "Well," Anise sighed, throwing up her hands, "I suppose the cat is out of the bag now." Alara and Bran continued through the village until they found a very lazy fellow named Kipfler. He wasn't just lazy. He was a giant, lumpy russet potato with arms and legs reclining on a velvet sofa. He was munching on a bowl of snacks and refused to move even an inch to let them pass. "Sorry," Kipfler mumbled, his voice muffled. "I'm a total couch potato today. I haven't moved since Tuesday." Bran accidentally bumped into Kipfler's side table, knocking over a tall glass of milk. The white liquid splashed all over the rug. Kipfler began to wail and sob, as if it were the end of the world. Bran tilted his head, confused by the overreaction, and began to lap up the puddle. "Don't worry, Kipfler," Alara said, trying to hold back a giggle. "There's no use crying over spilled milk." To find the way home, they had to enter the great hall. Inside, the room was crowded with people chatting about the weather, but nobody was mentioning the most obvious thing in the center of the room. A massive gray elephant wearing a tiny party hat was sitting right in the middle of the carpet, eating peanuts. "Why is no one talking about him?" Alara whispered. That is quite an elephant in the room, she realized. The floor leading to the exit was covered in thousands of delicate white eggshells. Every time Alara took a step, they crunched loudly. "Careful, Bran," Alara cautioned, lifting the dog up so he wouldn't get poked. "We have to be very quiet. We're literally walking on eggshells here." She moved on tiptoe, trying to reach the golden door at the far end without making a sound. At the golden door stood a tall, stern guard named Gideon. He held a wooden block and a silver hammer. "To pass," Gideon announced, "you must solve the riddle of the exit. How do you finish a job perfectly?" Alara thought for a moment, then took the hammer. With a single, precise swing, she drove a nail straight into the center of the block. "You hit the nail on the head," Gideon exclaimed, stepping aside with a bow. The door swung open, and Alara and Bran tumbled back onto their own soft green lawn. The violet sky was gone, replaced by a warm golden sunset. No cats or dogs were falling from the sky anymore. Alara patted Bran on the head and looked back at the woods. "That was an adventure," she laughed, heading toward her back porch. "And getting home? Well, that was a piece of cake."